this truth that I'm about to tell you, it'll set you free from religion. It'll set you free from parents and moms and family and governments and police, everybody. It'll set you free. And it's simply this. You are divine. God has exploded in a crab nebulae explosion, and he has come and manifested himself as billions of people. And you're one of you, and so am I. When I look at you, I see God. When you look at me, you see God. That's why God's name is I am. I am God. It doesn't mean that me, God. It means I am. When you say I am God, you have to say, what is God's name? I am. What? I am God. Oh my God, then all the people, Christians run around, oh, I told you they think they're God. I don't think anything on the side. No, Jesus Christ said, the scripture says you are God, and the scripture cannot be broken. So he said it.
Yeah, like I'm not third album.
Peace, family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Capricorn New Moon at 20 degrees happening on January 11th, which will be this week. Right? It's the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th on Thursday. Right? That is Thursday. And so 20 degrees is a Scorpio degree, which is about change, transformation, death, rebirth, power, success, and the Phoenix rising. Right? And Capricorn can be about passing the baton, like in a relay race. And so, somebody at a high level falling off for many different reasons. It could be death, health, sickness. It could be corruption and, lies and shadow secrets coming out. And in all areas, you know, whether it's on a personal level or we see this out in the world, that we're going to see people at the top kind of like falling off or naturally stepping down. It's, their time is up, and we're going to see other people moving in higher positions, getting recognition, being rewarded for their hard work. This could be raises or status changes, stuff like that can be happening. This could be leaving a legacy, whether you're receiving it or you're starting it to pass down. Again, higher position. This could be higher education with Mercury still in Sagittarius. The next steps in a relationship, changes of goals, or, I have been having like the craziest experiences all freaking week, just one after another, mad randomly out of nowhere that I'm just processing. At the same time, I feel like I'm going through another awakening, a transformation, a change of some sort that doesn't really make all sense right now, but I'm just kind of like gathering information and analyzing and assessing, okay, what does this mean? Why is this happening? And it all really kind of started when I had the week off from just before Christmas to right up to about New Year's, or right up through New Year's, actually. And what I began to notice is that something left my life. So when I didn't have to worry or focus on work, that veil, nothing was holding that space anymore, which allowed everything to just kind of like come rushing in. And there was lot of things have happened. I don't even know where to start, but um, I'm sharing in hopes that this will make sense to you guys as well. That I had just had a bunch of different epiphanies as to why I was struggling at work. I had the opportunity to kind of like stop and step back and think like, oh, because I was like cursing everybody out in the meetings and shit. Respectfully, I did a good job. I was very proud of myself. But in the moments of having these kind of like flashbacks and like epiphanies, it was like, no, it's not about the people. It's not about addressing the people or trying to change other people's minds or even having conversations about a structure that doesn't belong to you anyways. It was more so about look at yourself and why this is really happening. It just so happened to be about something that I was remembering when I first uh, when I first started going to college. I was taking a speaking class, and the teacher who was teaching the class was a life coach. But the way she described what life coaching wasn't like what most typical people think of when they think of life coaching. It was like going into businesses and kind of helping businesses structure their business and how they work. And I was extremely intrigued by that idea. And I started asking her a bunch of different questions. I was like, yo, that's so cool. Like, how do I, like, what would I have to do? Like, what classes and things would I have to take to be able to do something like that? And we kind of had a discussion. I took some notes and, I dedicated my life from that point on to structuring how can I become that person to be in that kind of position. And of course, and obviously, as you can see, that has changed quite a bit and has evolved. I did become a life coach. I am a certified life coach. Um, and obviously, career and astrology kind of fared more and played a bigger role over these last few years. But now I feel like I was getting a wake up call like, hey, you forgot about this piece. And now let's see how this piece fits back into your life. And so I'm considering doing the research and checking and seeing, okay, how can I fit this in my life? Do I still want to do this? And is it relevant to what I'm trying to do? So it doesn't necessarily might have to be about changing goals, but maybe putting some other things on pause to figure that out, to address that, to assess that. It could be stuff like that. It's going to happen for everybody in very different ways, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a change of a goal or even a rearranging of goals, although those could be very real possibilities. Um, I also had like a bunch of different people come back into my life that was really making me think and assess. And they were all Scorpios and Aquariuses. And literally, it's like we haven't even finished this week yet, and the amount of people that have just come rushing into my life is like, whoa, okay, so what does this mean? And I'm thinking the closing cycle of the Pluto and Capricorn is really huge and major to the opening transit of Pluto moving into Aquarius. Whatever this is, it's going to be um, life changing. And I know that I've talked about this before. But the only other time that that's ever happened to me, it's only ever been with Scorpio people that I have in my life. And I don't know if anybody's ever heard the saying when a Scorpio comes into your life unexpectedly, that means there's a death or change or transformation coming. And so again, I'm just trying to figure out, okay, like what is this change, transformation having to do with? And so I'm reflecting on the conversations that I'm having with these people, and it's a lot. I have that I've really actually forgot about, to be honest with you. I think one was recognition. Um, that I worked with a lot of different Scorpio people specifically, um, who I helped start up their business, or I was the person who, for whatever reason, came into their life at a time where they were starting a business or starting something. And I'll share this story because I think it's relevant to how some of this stuff can be playing out for people. But when I was working in the prison, I know that I shared this story, but I never shared the sign of the person that I was referring to. He was a Scorpio, and he had approached me. He was a minister, who would come in the church, he would come in the prison every like 2 or 3 times a week to meet with some of the guys who were getting ready to transition on outside, to prepare them, to have conversations with them, to get their plan together, to see what, where their head was at and kind of what they wanted and what they expected out of life. And then he would, give them his information so that they can reach him when he got on the outside. And then he would work with them and help them, um kind of, get their feet on the ground. And he had access to a bunch of different resources and things like that for them. And he was eventually trying to start his own business and get into real estate. His ultimate goal was to start a halfway house for men who got out of prison. He wanted to do his own program. And because he didn't like really the way the ones that were already kind of out here worked. He wanted to build a program that he thought would be more succinct, and allow people to be more successful after releasing from prison. And and so he ran into me in the prison one day, and he was like, "What are you doing here?" I've never met this man before in my entire life. So I was like really scared. I was like, working, right? And he was like, "No, no, 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 no." And he pulls me in one of the classrooms, and he's like, tell me what it is you're doing here. Like, what's your intentions? Why would you want to work in a place like this? And I'm gonna pause right there and add a quick caveat because that's a good fucking question. Ah, when I was on this journey, I think I was talking about this or trying to talk about this in the Pisces, my Sun in Pisces series. Family, if you haven't checked out my Sun Through the Sign series, I highly advise you to go check it out. All of them, if you get the chance, or opportunity to check them out, share your thoughts, let me know what you think. But a lot of the work that I was led to do on this journey, I wouldn't have chosen to do by myself. And this is very Piscean. Like, again, if you go back and listen to that Sun and Pisces video, I explained how a lot of the times your mission, your purpose in life is a lot more ethereal or outside of your control, where you're being led by someone or something. For most of that journey, I felt like I was behind a veil, like in a screen, like behind a screen, watching myself do all these things. But these were things that I would have not chosen to do by myself. In fact, I was petrified of prison. It was traumatizing. Having had that experience of being in prison, it wasn't a place that I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go back there in any way at all. Like, it wasn't something that, you know, um, I would have chosen for myself. I was led to that, but because I felt like I was being used as a vessel to do this work, um, and it was very healing, even though it was scary. But um, I often say that I think I was the spirit of Harriet Tubman. It's going to help save a few slaves and get them out, free them, open their mind, awakening them, and um, as many as I could for the short journey that I was on there to get people out. And a lot of those people that I did meet with after talking to back to the story of talking with um, the minister was all my clients and was really the first beginning stages of what was at the time a way of life. And I feel like it still is, but I changed the name for various reasons. But um and I still work with a lot of them today. We still do a lot of work together, or they'll check in and say how they're doing or if they have questions, etc. But essentially, it really just had me reflecting on that journey and that day that we met. And he was given gratitude, when he reached back out to me. He was just checking on me. He was like, "Hey, how have you been?" He was like, "I had you on my mind." He's like, "I just wanted to see how you was doing. I haven't heard from you or seen you in a while." And he was just catching me up with how much he's accomplished, and what he's kind of done and where he's at and what he's, you know, continuing to do and stuff like that. And he was just reminiscing really about how he appreciated, he calls it my femininity. And I found it very interesting that he used words like that to describe my demeanor. He was like, you're a rare person. You're the person who stays on somebody's mind long after they're gone. And I just listened. I didn't really have much to say because I think it's a little uncomfortable for me to accept um, you know, flattery in that way, because I really don't see myself um in that way. Not that I don't have that kind of confidence in myself or anything like that. It's a lot deeper than that, but I just think that again, I was on that journey unwillingly. And so um it's not something that I would, you know, if I had to say, well, who is Keisha? It wouldn't be that story. Um, and so, I'm just reflecting on the candor and kindness that he says that I had offered to him. He's like, I still never found anybody quite like it. He's like, I got some ladies in there now doing some administrative work for me and stuff and all that other stuff. And he was like, you should like run a class to show people like how to be a good worker, a coach, or administrative person. And I was laughing. I was like, I will come and help you in any way that I can, but I don't know about but the teaching the class and stuff. Of course, he was joking, but it just really made me think a lot of this is going to be about relationships. And when I think about scorpionic energy, I think about what that represents when it comes to relationships. And whether it's on the higher vibration or the lower vibration, the few things that I got from that conversation was that men need hugs too. It was the emotionality, the vulnerability of it all, without sharing too much of his personal life. It was more so like men are really going through some things too. And I think I talked about this even more so back in 2020 when I was telling women, I was like, men are getting ready, they're tired of not being um, in a position of power anymore. And I told them they was coming back for their crown. And I actually think it was 2021 that I was saying that, but I think it started in 2020. I think I called it the rise of masculinity, because it was the year of Capricorn. And even though Capricorn is a feminine energy, it's also very masculine. And And then we had the Scorpio Taurus eclipses right shortly after the year of Capricorn. I don't remember at what point it kind of switched over or whatever, but I don't think it's a mistake that these things are kind of coming up in this way as reflections or things that I'm being asked to think about, and especially when it comes to relationships. So, what does that look like? So, let's say a high valued person, somebody who has their life together, who knows what they want, who has money, um, and things of that nature. What kind of man, what kind of man, what that man would expect out of a relationship? And I think about us as women and how that can be really hard for us in relationships because we also have been taking care of ourselves because of the lack of men who come in that form or fashion. Even if it is on the lower expression of that, and it's not about the money or what they can provide or the resources that they have, etc., but the time given, the support given in the house, the how you guys work together collectively as a family, and or as a household, or wherever you're at. It's about structure and resources and the organization of how that functions all together. And there are two messages that I got from that. um Women who are in high valued positions, if they meet a high valued man, what are you willing to give up? And are you willing to submit or put your goals on hold to help him continue building whatever it is he's building, or be vulnerable enough to help him through any kind of emotional support, or um, just vulnerability, just to submit, um, and vice versa. Um, if it's on the opposite end, men, are you willing to um, meet a high valued woman not being in a high valued position? Are you willing to let go of your pride enough to understand in order to be in a woman's life or that position? I don't even think I should be labeling it, but are you willing to accept the fact that it's going to take her some time before she can just leave her position to allow somebody else to take control when she's been in control her whole life? I think another example of this and how this could be showing up is um, women who might not be in high valued positions, setting yourself up now to be the woman that you need to be for a high valued man, or just a man in general. Meaning, like, I think my client had called me the other night, which was crazy. Like, the amount of downloads that are coming in around this time has been absolutely bonkers. But and she was sharing a story about, you know, I can't remember who, if she was talking to herself or she was just generally speaking in general, but how um, you know, taking care of her children and all those things. Um, it's not about the money when she's considering doing those things. She's just like, I'm gonna figure out a way to do those things. But I think what she was really saying is that she already shows up as somebody who is not going to question, if a man does come in, what her role is. And would she be movable to make room for somebody to come in to help and provide wherever need be? And so, and I'm saying this because I take a lot of calls on these psychic hotlines, and a lot of women will play these kind of head games like, oh, I'm not going to give him this if he's not doing A, B, and C. And all this other stuff. And I'm like, trying to explain that's a wrong attitude to have. Although I understand, I want to validate why people might feel that way. But it's childish and immature to think that some man who knows his worth, what he wants and what he's looking for, and is willing to come in and help you in any kind of way, to think that he's going to put up with that kind of attitude, um, it's not going to work, right? And so women having to think about and or consider already showing up as the woman they want to be in a relationship, and kind of letting go of that ideology that there needs to be a wait and pause to see what somebody's going to do to make a decision, as opposed to whether or not you're going to let them in. Um, be the woman that you want to be, visualize the person that you want to be now, and start doing that now. Um, and don't wait for somebody to come in to then start making those choices, because it's going to be harder. And it might kind of come off as disingenuous, I think is the correct term. And I really think that this Capricorn moon is really it's gonna hit heavy, especially once we get the stellium um, of planets in Capricorn. That's gonna happen. I think it starts in the beginning of February or end of January, and then it's gonna immediately move into a stellium of planets the beginning of February. And so we're going to be kind of bombarded and hit kind of heavy with Saturnized energy around all themes, not just relationships, but having to address those things and ask those questions on how we want to show up. And the message that I'm really picking up from that is you should show up in integrity regardless, right? Because when we break down Capricorn energy, again, this is about your values, um, how you were raised, your integrity, who raised you? Are you out here acting like a wild bull, like you have no morals, ethics, a code of ethics, um, like societal ran, do you function off of the societal norms, or do you have something that you get from your elders, your ancestors, um, your culture and who you are, and stand on business, right? Do you have expectations or um, guidelines, and boundaries and things of that nature? So I feel like I can go on and on, but I think I've already done that enough. Thank you for your time. I think it's important to kind of address those things, or we will be addressing those things during this new moon, that could end up changing your goals, your life, your expectations, and you might have to put some things on hold, whatever ideas or dreams that you have set up, depending on, how your life is, or how this transformation is going to come in and kind of change um, your life path. In society, I think we're going to see obviously a lot around big business, people stepping down, or again passing the torch. I think we can see some things around leaders misusing their power. Again, a lot of this is stemming from 2020, because I want to say it was January of 2020. Now, I didn't start doing astrology until the end of January, but we had the Saturn Pluto conjunction at 22 degrees. And that was, what kind of brought on COVID, for those of you who remember. But um, so I don't think it's going to be exactly about COVID or anything like that. But again, the kind of assessing and following up, thinking back, what have I been through since then? How has life changed? What have I learned about my power? Who I am in my power, and what do I want that to look like? What is the structure of my life? Kind of planning ahead based on your past so that you can make some clear intentions for this new moon. Because new moons are a time to make new intentions, especially when it's Capricorn, because it's all about goals and ambition and your direction in life. Another thing I really wanted to talk about, because the downloads are heavy, y'all, just bear with me. Okay, I'm getting through it. This video might be a tad bit longer than normal, but I took some notes that I gotta read here. Um, because Saturn is in Pisces. And I did talk about this when Saturn first went into Pisces, but kind of addressing family and culture, who we are in our history as a Black community. I always talk about this every time I talk about Capricorn, especially, but mostly it's the Capricorn Cancer axis, because Capricorn is opposite Cancer. And so I think with Cat Williams, which, quick caveat, I just want to say I'm glad it wasn't a Gemini this time. I'm glad it was a Virgo, even though I'm mad it's still mercurial rules. Sad to say that out loud, but Capricorn, Virgo, Cat Williams has been kind of stirring up um, the second string of what has been a downfall to Hollywood, next to P. Diddy or Puffy or whatever you want to call him, and kind of opening up the veil of, a continuation of things that we really, 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 really need to heal anyways. And I'm really glad that these things are happening. But as I'm watching and listening and just, experiencing what's going on, I'm thinking about Saturn and Pisces, because Pisces rules Hollywood, directors, that whole bit. And and how the illumination is coming from the Pluto and Capricorn ending its cycle, but also moving into Pluto and Aquarius. And I think it's funny how these are all kind of happening succinctly, not to mention we just wrapped up the Scorpio and Taurus eclipse cycle, which we are now in Aries and Venus. And I'm thinking too, a few things that it brought up was Thor Ragnarok. I was like, they already kind of showed us what this was in that movie. And before I get on my soapbox and start ranting, which I'm going to try not to do, by the way, I had a long talk with myself. Don't get in here acting like a fool. I'm gonna try. So, but this dynamic of family trauma that needs to be healed, um, through the awakening of Hollywood falling. So remember in the beginning of this, when I was talking about without having work there, it was like a whole slew of ideas and epiphany started coming into my life, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's just light, 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 clarity, 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 light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. And having these conversations with these few different people over the last few days has just been very enlightening to who I am. Um, have I been standing in integrity? And where am I going to go with that next? And I feel like this is the same message that we're going to be asked to do as the light continues to come in. But we know that it's going to be a little bit harder for us because it's a collective message. There are a lot of people who have a lot of healing to do, but remember, the healing doesn't really start until the truth comes in, because once the truth comes in, you're never going to go back to, um, what was. Now it's time to start creating something new, which is the Pluto and Aquarius energy, right? And so, um, it made me think of Thor Ragnarok. So if anybody remembers how Thor Ragnarok started, I mean, really you can take it the entire Thor series, but specifically Thor Ragnarok, um he thought his brother was dead. His brother was impersonating his dad to be the king. He wanted that spot so damn bad. Thor didn't even want the spot to be the king. He wanted to be out there fighting alongside his fellow, people, um, saving the world, being a hero, not a king. That theme's coming up again with I think I talked about that in Aquaman too. Um, and um, so he's out here saving the world to come back home to find Loki was actually alive. He was doing a play. You guys got to go back and watch that movie. It'll be very funny as soon as I get my point across. Bear with me, okay? I swear there's a point to all of this. So he's doing a play about the last situation that happened in Thor, which was copycatting. This is what I'm getting to. We are all reflections of each other. And y'all know how I feel about this fucking topic about people talking about who's copying them. It's petty 5-year old. Shut up. Okay. I don't want to hear about this copycat crap anymore. But I'm about to explain why this is important. Um, so Thor wanted to be like his dad. This is the action of copycatting, just so that we're clear, okay? Thor wanted to be like his dad so bad. He was ready to take that place as king, but then once he realized what that actually really amounted to, he was like, well, but that doesn't allow me to be like a hero like you, Dad. Or a soldier even might be a better word for it. But Loki was like, I'll take the spot if he don't want it, but technically he couldn't because he wasn't even family. Hold that spot right there. That's your enemy watching you fools out here arguing together as a family, which should be a conversation that should be fucking private and not public. I'm gonna stop right there. And knowing how to get to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now they know your secrets and they know how to get under your skin. They know how to take advantage of you. They know how to break you apart. They know how to separate you so you don't see the bigger picture. These are distractions, okay? And so forward now to Ragnarok, Thor's doing his thing. He comes back home to find out his brother lied. He wasn't actually dead. He's been playing his position that he doesn't want, that he probably would have let him have had he would do it the right way. But look at, even Loki was copycatting the storyline from how all of that happened. And from that, he was reliving that entire experience through a play. Pay attention, through a play, acting. These people are telling you your stories in these movies. We're not paying attention to that. This is how America has gotten over on us for so freaking long that it's so annoying. I'm trying not to get angry, but I'm so passionate about this topic. I really want to scream and pull my hair out. But the caveat to it all is that we're not looking at the bigger picture. And so in Thor Ragnarok, he thought he had stopped Ragnarok, which was the truth. Let's just leave it at that, right? And the truth was Hela. which was his sister who is going to tell the true story of who his father actually really was, that he wanted to be like so bad, following in his father's footsteps, which what he didn't know was pretty much a terrorist. And he was pretty much doing what America did to pretty much everybody they in every other country that they encounter with, which is steal, cheat, lie, take from them. Loki is a clear depiction of this, by the way. Holding space over here. Loki's still here. Um, and they were ruthless, and Hela comes and tells and shows the true story that they hid everything about, because the father at some point caught a conscious, and what he did was he put Hela away. But when you're talking about bloodline, you can't run away from your trauma. You have got to deal with those things. They will eventually come up. And I feel like watching Cat Williams and everybody on this stage, which again, I really want to applaud Cat, despite however it came out. It's a necessary evil that needs to happen for us so that we can overcome this belief and ideology that we need to be in these people's spotlight, playing the roles for them. And that whole storyline, talking about Capricorn from the perspective of economics, and that we need to take our power back in that way. There's so many different storylines that are happening here, but um also the need to stop doing that and stop arguing and seeing why, because we're missing the bigger picture. We're missing the fact that, they're probably building some mastermind, God knows what. But they did add that caveat in that movie when Thor when so when Hela came and she was like nail, and they were looking at her like, bitch, we don't know you. And then they went back up. They was getting ready to go back to Asgard, but wasn't really wanting to. Either way, Thor and Loki kind of got kicked out of the Bifrost through fighting or whatever, and dropped into the wasteland, Scorpio. I tell you guys all the time, Scorpio is my Wally placement, into this place of what I think was a mixture of Scorpio and Aquarius energy. The way they did things, the girl had everything was you know digital, right? I can't remember the name of that girl. She's a cutie too. But whatever. Um, Everything was digitized, and the fact that they fell in the wasteland were like keys that, these people definitely got something planned. And we'll talk about that in the Pluto and Aquarius video, but we're definitely going to go through this digital era of, you know, I want to say so many things, good or bad, but I think essentially what we're going to be learning is that we, again, and I do feel like I talked about this in my Pluto and Aquarius video. I think I did about two or three of them already. I want to do another one, but I'm going to go back to my notes first and make sure I'm not like just, you know. So, I do think it's going to be that we need to learn that we're the AI, and where we are the internet. And so I do feel like a lot of us are going to be going back to doing like telephones, no cell phones. I know that sounds crazy, but remember, Capricorn Saturn is about the old ways of doing things, and so I do think that a lot of things, the people who are waking up to, are going to be like, I'm not using that system. And there's going to be a lot of fighting and arguing about, how that should go. Um, I don't have an opinion at this time, to be quite frank. I don't want anything to do with this shit, but we'll see. And so I think the bottom line is we still got some healing to do. We still got some trauma to work out. The truth is out there now. I think it's going to continue crumbling and falling because we got one more time for Pluto to go back into Capricorn, which is in November of 2024 this year. It's only going to be a month and then that's it. Scorpio will be in Scorpio Pluto will be in Aquarius, until 2040 or 2044. And so a lot going on there. Mercury's still in shadow. And so I think it's going to be hard to communicate a lot of this stuff, hard to see eye to eye, struggling with finding words, even struggling to find faith in whatever it is you're building right now. But that'll all change again once we move into the stellium of planets through Capricorn. You don't have to figure everything out right now. Um, you just have to know how it looks. So visualization, again, having small conversations, planning is going to be your best bet on this journey. And however this is faring for you, wherever you feel like you're being led, pay attention to the signs. Remember, Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, is in Pisces. Pisces is all ethereal. These are emotional, creative, behind the scenes, behind the veil, behind the screen. Very what was the and Dorothy, the man behind the thing, kind of who's running the puppet strings type of theory there. You know, and kind of figuring out how that relates to you and your life and what is it you're being told, having gratitude, showing people that you care, being there for them emotionally, open up and being vulnerable, being supportive where you can, giving back, um, volunteering, supporting others. I feel like I already said that, so I'm going to be quiet, but getting sleep, sign symbols, synchronicities, paying attention to your dreams, finding your soul tribe. Now, this could be guides, spirits, extraterrestrial, or passed on loved ones trying to reach out to you, give you messages and things of that nature. Don't overdo it and let it overwhelm you. Whatever these messages or people that are coming back into your life, um, don't let it run your life to the point where you stop doing what you're doing, but do make time, do some research, ask yourself those questions, ask your guides for support and guidance. Um, because it does mean something. And I do think it'll come clear once all the planets move into Capricorn, but um this could also be things like because Mercury rules social media, passwords. So changing your passwords to angel numbers, getting into numerology, um, you doing vision boards and whatever it is you're trying to attract, or making those your screens, your background screens, who you see on your social media, making sure cut people out that the excess, are these people giving to you, they teaching you something every day, do they help you, motivate you in the morning, or uplift you, whatever support you're looking for, does your social media reflect that? So when you get the scrolling and shit, you're not doing the backtrack into the negativity, or bringing your spirits down, and just changing from the old way of doing things, the traditional way of doing things. How is that changing for you that is more supportive, more um uplifting, or gives you some kind of status, or builds a legacy, or leaves something behind, things like that. um Mercury can kind of be like, I want to see action. Talk is cheap, which you're not going to get that right now, not until later this month. I'm just going to keep it honest with you because even I'm drained. Um, and I don't feel, I actually would rather people not talk to me right about now. I might just listen, but I'm not going to be doing much more than that at this time. I just really don't have the energy, but I am going through like a massive, massive awakening. My fucking ears are ringing. I got pictures, and I wish you guys could have seen me in here like a freaking mad woman going back to the Thor Ragnarok. I'm like, where is it? I was in here like, I need to find it. Anyway, I think your time would be best spent doing stuff like that, believe it or not, and just figuring out what all this stuff means to you. How does it fit into your life? Do you need it to fit in your life, or is it just a message? Is it just, whatever? And so, Capricorn rules mastering your skills. And so we might be asking ourselves, what's working, what's not, how to move on from what's not, planning, organizing, um, looking at your limitations and fears. Um, we may even discover that fears and limitations are kind of dissolving, um or that we still have some work to do, which I think is just going to always be a little bit of both. But I do think that people who like the stories that I was telling you, again, even though it was a little uncomfortable hearing all those nice things being said, and you know what I felt like. Does anybody know the I'm getting ready to go on another tangent. It's going to be a really long video. um Persephone of Persephone. I hope I'm saying that right. The story of Persephone, because Saturn is ruled by Capricorn. It's the devil, and the devil and her mom. I forget what her mom's name is, um, but Persephone is, somebody that is Venus. He really, really liked Venus. He had the hots for Venus, and he wanted her by any means necessary. He's willing to do whatever it took to get her. And but her mom kind of really fought, like, that's my baby, that's my child. You cannot have her. And because they were both so powerful, it was kind of destroying the way things ran here in the 3D realm. And so they had to come to a conclusion um, of how they can both get what they wanted and be happy. And the way they came to that conclusion was to allow the devil, Saturn, to have Venus from, what is it, fall, or is it winter? Yeah, because winter is 6 months, right? Shit, I don't remember. It was half and half though. So the devil gets Venus from this time where it's the dark night of the soul, the winter, the fall time. And then she goes back to her mom from springtime to summertime. And that's why this is going to be this whole argument about the New Year's and all these, new I don't care about any of that. You celebrate whenever you want. I'm not standing on that. And it doesn't have anything to do with the new year, the Gregorian calendar. I give zero fucks. I'm simply talking about, astrologically speaking, with retrogrades and things of that nature. This is time for planning, going inward, thinking, planning, discovering, learning. And then you take all that stuff and do what little bit you can. In the new years, you're going to have even more forward movement with all those new things. And that's why I'm considering springtime the new year. So That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But I kind of feel like I had a real life experience about being Persephone. And I think I've experienced this before in my life, but it's never been this clear before, where I kind of feel like I have people grabbing at my ankles and kind of wanting I think it's the attention of the feminine energy. Um I was listening to Steven. He's like a relationship coach type person. And he was doing something. I wish I could remember the name of the video he was doing, where he was talking about certain things a women should or shouldn't do for some reason. I'm really sorry, I can't remember, but the one thing that he said that really caught me towards the end of that video is he talked about how many women have these expectations from men, but if a man doesn't follow through, it's never a question of, how is he doing emotionally? Is he okay? Does he have everything he needs? It's just no fuck off, kind of, sort of, in so many words. He didn't obviously say that, but that we don't pay attention to the emotions of men. It's just not something that's that common. And he was like, he's like, it's crazy how often that happens and it's not addressed. And I'm gonna leave the link for people who want it, or just leave a message saying you want the link. I thought that was um very profound. And I think that I could agree, having boys, I see a lot more of this happening. What women don't pay attention to the emotions of a man. It's almost as if they don't have them, or it's dismissed in some way because they're not a woman, and women have emotions and men don't. And that's what I got a lot of, for people who were coming back into my life. It didn't feel like even past people wanting to come back to be with me. They wanted the femininity energy. They wanted a hug. They wanted validation. They wanted support. Um, somebody to talk to, somebody to lay their head on their shoulder, which I thought was really, really profound. And without giving away, what people are actually going through, just being respectful of people's personal lives. Health issues with dads are on the line, health issues in general, and not having anybody to turn to or talk to about that. And yet they're having to be the ones to most 9 times out of 10 kind of deal or delegate people through those kinds of situations. Um, and not having the support of a woman being there, I felt that absence more than anything, when it came to the emotions of these people coming back to my life. And not all of these people were single, by the way, which was another issue that I kind of felt like is going to be another theme that comes up, where people are in these unhappy relationships where they're not even getting what they want, but maybe perhaps they're there. If we're talking about Scorpio energy, because it's cheaper to keep her. Um, that whole storyline. Um, or they've agreed to some kind of agreement that has worked, but it's not working anymore, but nobody's willing to kind of have the conversation about the pink elephant in the room. And so this leads men to cheat or look for comfort in things up and elsewhere. And women having to accept that or coming to that realization of whether or not that's your fault. And again, family, I'm not taking sides here. I'm simply pulling up themes that I'm seeing. You make the decision on how you want to deal with this stuff. I don't. I have no. Um, I really don't have an opinion. I'm actually really worried about the state of relationships, knowing that going into Pluto and Aquarius, I don't think it's the best energy to go into. I think it's going to rip us apart. If we don't get help and address these problems, it's going to get bigger. I do think that we'll get the clarity and closure from the Pluto and Capricorn energy that could help maybe balance some of that out, but I just don't get good vibes. I haven't really done the astrology. I only wrote down the transits, and I only paid close attention to um the transit that I thought would be really cool, but I don't do emotions. I do mundane astrology, but the more that this theme and these things keep coming up, I'm really wondering what that's going to lead to, but anyway, I think these are going to be themes that are going to be addressed publicly, personally, privately. Um, they are going to come up in some way, shape, or form. Um, yeah. And so, working through your fears, getting some counseling, really, really getting to the bottom. What I like about this being at 20 degrees, being a Scorpio degree, is that Scorpio wants to get to the root cause. And having Mercury move into Capricorn is going to help us have the conversation about that. And I really hope people take advantage of having that conversation, whether you're starting new, getting further into a relationship, or have already been in a relationship for a really long time, that you take the opportunity to get to the root cause of what are the barriers in your relationship, and coming up with solutions with the Aquarius energy. Um, and so we may have to learn patience and time management. We may be more disciplined and focused on new goals. This could be career, public image, and status and reputation. We might be building structures and foundations, laying the groundwork for future success, wealth, and relationships, or professional, mastering something through introspection and self-improvement. Um, this change is going to bring new opportunities, and change is going to come whether you're ready or not. Uranus is going to be about um, your spirit guides coming through to bring change unexpectedly. If you're not ready, um, you better get ready. You really seriously better get ready, and start thinking about what you're going to do if something happens, because it's going to be um, turbulent, but I still think whatever it is that's coming in now is going to be stronger, better, and it's going to allow us to live in alignment with who we are now and not who we were. So, embrace change, be open to change, be flexible. Because Uranus goes direct on the 26th of this month at 19 degrees. And so these aren't necessarily new ideas. We've had Uranus and Taurus at 19 degrees since July of 2022. This is definitely going to evolve around finances and material things, your unique talents. And again, Saturn is about releasing something, releasing emotions, letting go of unhealthy, patterns. Um, this could even be like moving forward in a steady pace. Mars is going to be courage and motivation, or new solutions to old problems that will actually come to fruition. Um, 19 degrees is a Virgo degree, so this is definitely about habits and patterns, especially with work, daily routines, health regimens and routines. Um, But again, try not to get caught up and overwhelmed with overthinking. Just take step by step process. Don't get caught up in the details with the Virgo degree. And Uranus might say do some kind of side hustle. That 20 degrees of the new moon can be having to start a side hustle out of crisis. Scorpio rules crisis, but it's a movement to make you or help you become self-sufficient. Um, and it's going to provide the support to do that, but I still kind of think it's going to be a little rambunctious and unexpected for a lot of people. Not everybody, and not everybody's unprepared either. So, um, um, the sun and moon's going to trine Uranus, so, and sextile Neptune. And so there are some radical changes that you are ready to make. You might have been thinking about it. It's been overwhelming, but the new moon allows you to set some intentions, and Uranus is going to give you the push to come out of your comfort zone. You're ready to take a risk, and you will have the faith that things will work out. Um, I think it's important to pay attention to whatever this is for you. I wish I could be more specific, because Neptune's going to change degree at the second half of this year, and Mars is going to, I think I did do a video on Mars and Cancer, um, retrograde. Go listen to that video because you're going to want to be prepared to, this is going to stir up a lot of shit. Shift. It's gonna stir up a lot of shift. And you want to be prepared for this. Because that's a 6-month transit. I remember when Mars was in Gemini, and I haven't been the same since then. And so Mars is going to see something through. You're gonna stick to it. Um, it's something you want. It's something, I mean, you'll see uh through it, you know. The new moon will give you new energy to build, what you're trying to build, and take responsibility for your actions, and bringing changes to your relationship with money. um mm. And the last but not least is that the North Node is going to square this new moon, which North Node being in um Aries. This is about your identity, having courage to get things done. Um, wanting something that's going to bring success, a long-term plan, embrace change, being optimistic. This could mean meditating, praying, making sacrifices, relying on faith. Again, Saturn is in Pisces. The Saturn and Pisces are going to be your tools to get through the shift. Ah, um, we're putting our faith in the actual physical material realm, um, and not um, things that we can't see, touch, feel, or things of that nature. I actually think we're going to manifest. I don't know if it's just been me, but lately, if I say something, and I don't even have to be asking for it at this point, that those things that I say, whether it's a person or a place or thing, have been coming to fruition. Has anybody else been experiencing that, or is it just me? It's really kind of been kind of freaking me out, but cool at the same time. I've been known to see my manifestations come to fruition, but They've been faster, more frequent, and not necessarily me asking um through, for a manifestation. I'm just literally having conversations, and these people are coming in my life. This is Pluto and Aquarius. It's coming for you. Y'all better be prepared. But anyways, um we will start to see the things that we're manifesting. They're gonna bring in changes, changes in resource, changes in relationships, changes in our relationships to money, um, the time you give, to the job that you're at, the exchange and the amount of energy and happiness you get from that, the security you get from it, or your business and whatever it is you're doing, and just material things in general. With Venus in the South Node, I do think we're going to see a lot of things come to fruition for the most part. Although I really do feel like this is going to be a bit turbulent. But it's Capricorn. Capricorn is about hard work, and so be the goat. Okay, show up for yourself and make sure you stand in your integrity. Don't give people the opportunity to tell you about you. Show up as who you are proudly. Because if you give somebody the opportunity to show you who they think you are, they will. It's not going to be a matter of if they'll do it, it's going to be when. And you can avoid that by not giving people that opportunity, because people are miserable, their lives are falling apart. And I don't mean that in an ignorant way. I mean, like, it's time for some things to come to light, to come to an end, and put new things in there. And you might be that something for someone. So stand in your power. Say it with your chest. You don't have to be rude. You can be respectful, but let people know who you are as soon as you walk through the door. I love and appreciate you, family. As usual, I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.